Replacing Joe Biden with Kamala Harris is like changing your shirt because you shit your pants. You didn't fix anything. I still can smell you. Kamala, she does different accents.
You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union.
Depending on where she is, down south. Let me tell you something. You boys better get it together here and vote. Save democracy. It was just great to see Oprah and Bruce Springsteen and De Niro losing their mind. Didn't make any difference because even the Amish people, they never vote. They're like, no, this time we're voting. Let's get the horse. Let's go. Come on, we're going there. Hey, Oprah, you. We're going to vote for the first time ever. That's it.
It doesn't get juicier than this. Rob Schneider just dropped a truth bomb, so explosive Kamala Harris is probably still feeling the aftershock, and the internet is eating it up. His takedown wasn't just funny. It was a brutal reality check aimed straight at Harris's already shaky campaign narrative. So what exactly did Schneider say that flipped the script on the media's golden girl and turned her into online roast material overnight? And how did the backlash spiral into a full-blown viral pylon? We've got every spicy detail locked and loaded. Buckle up, because this one's hotter than a summer election cycle. And trust me, it's blazing.
Is that nobody voted for Kamala. They just said, okay, you're it. They did this in 2016. Bernie Sanders, he was the guy that got all the votes in the primary. We just give it to Hillary. In 2020, just everybody drop out, just give it to Biden. Then this year, it's everybody figured it out. His brain doesn't work. Let's just get Kamala. Here's what you have. You have somebody that nobody voted for, and you got somebody they tried to murder 2 times. I don't know which one's probably going to hold up democracy.
Rob Schneider came out swinging at Kamala. He argued she wasn't even a standout inside her own party. In his view, without the party's heavy focus on identity politics, she wouldn't have been tapped for vice president, let alone floated as presidential material. Many Americans, he claims, barely knew her record before the VP pick. And critics still struggle to name a defining legacy moment from her time in office. Her speeches? Dismissed by opponents as long on buzzwords and short on clarity. The initiatives under her watch. Branded by critics as underwhelming. And here's the twist. Vilmar recently delivered a similar critique, adding even more fuel to the fire.
That she's vulnerable on is the border. So she went to the border this week. She went to the border at Arizona. She used to be the border czar. She visited there. So interesting, along with working at McDonald's, now that's 2 places she worked that have a convenient drive-through.
Talk about the border. Kamala's role as border czar has been labeled by critics as a major weak spot. They point to rising numbers and call it a policy failure. They say she's been invisible when leadership was needed most. Schneider pushed the contrast even further. On one side, he describes a candidate elevated through party machinery and insider politics. On the other, he points to a rival who survived intense political and personal battles just to stay in the race. His message? Leadership isn't gifted, it's earned. Whether you agree or disagree, that comparison hit hard and sparked serious debate across the country.
She does different accents.
You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union.
Depending on where she is, down south. Let me tell you something. You boys better get it together here and vote. Save democracy.
And we're going to do it again in 2024.
Black community, she's like, shit, let me tell you something, honey. Let me tell you right now, we ain't vote for Trump, I even saw her at a 7-Eleven going like, listen, it's very important that we vote for the Democrats. We're trying to save democracy here. We're trying to save democracy.
Truth bomb number 2. Schneider didn't hold back. He called Kamala phony and overly rehearsed. His argument? That she adapts a little too perfectly to every room she walks into. Now, politicians adjusting their tone isn't new, but critics say switching accents or messaging depending on the crowd feels forced. To them, it doesn't come off as relatable. It comes off as calculated. Voters, Schneider claims, can smell inauthenticity from a mile away. And in an era where authenticity wins elections, that perception can be politically deadly. Whether fair or not, many Americans say they felt the performance, and voted based on it.
Still seem confused as to why they lost this election. They want to think it has something to do with misogyny or racism. Well, let me clear it up for those still bewildered Democrats. You lost because you tried to tell the American people that the economy was great when they couldn't afford to buy groceries. You lost because you ran a moron in place of a president you knew was a corpse attached to a car battery. You lost because you lied about January 6th, calling it worse than Pearl Harbor or 9/11. You lost because men can't have babies, women don't have dicks, and free speech isn't a privilege like a driver's license. It's a God-given right guaranteed by our Constitution.
Then came the broader swipe at what Schneider calls the woke liberal playbook. Critics argue voters were frustrated by messaging around everything from economic policy to cultural debates. They claim Americans were told the economy was strong while inflation hit hard at home. They argue hot-button issues, like gender policy, education debates, and January 6th narratives, were framed in ways many found disconnected from everyday concerns. Supporters say it was about inclusion and justice. Critics say it felt like gaslighting. Either way, the cultural divide widened, and election results reflected that frustration.
It was just great to see Oprah and Bruce Springsteen and De Niro losing their mind. Didn't make any difference because even the Amish people, they never vote. They're like, no, this time we're voting. Let's get the horse. Let's go. Come on, we're going there. Hey, Oprah, you. We're going to vote for the first time ever. That's it.
Here's where it gets even more dramatic. Schneider and others argue the administration's performance energized even apolitical Americans. People who once swore off voting suddenly felt pushed to the ballot box. Add in the wave of celebrity endorsements, Hollywood rallies, viral influencer clips, glossy campaign ads, and critics say it still wasn't enough. Why? Because everyday voters were focused on grocery bills, gas prices, and safety in their communities. When policies feel personal, star power can't drown that out. The louder the celebrity push became, the more some Americans tuned it out.
Replacing Joe Biden with Kamala Harris is like changing your shirt because you shit your pants. You didn't fix anything. I still can smell you.
Another factor critics point to? Joe Biden himself. They argue that if Biden's presidency had been widely viewed as a success, Harris would have coasted on that momentum. Instead, they say economic strain, border tensions, foreign policy controversies, and declining approval numbers became political baggage she couldn't shake. Every stumble by the administration became a headline she had to answer for. And distancing herself wasn't an option. She was part of the ticket. Critics say she was tethered to every misstep, whether fair or not.
Everything okay? Are you mad? You okay?
No, he's not mad.
You're mad? That's okay. You know what the cool thing about it in America is? Free speech isn't the speech you like. Nice stuff's not what needs to be protected. It's the stuff that you hate that needs protection so that somebody, like the government or you, doesn't get to decide what everybody else gets to hear. And you're more than welcome to disagree and write an act and get on stage and sell out like I just did.
Then comes the free speech argument. Schneider questions why some progressive leaders push for stronger content moderation on social platforms. Supporters argue it's about fighting misinformation. Critics argue it's about controlling narratives. From claims of shadow banning to accusations of tech collusion, the debate over online speech has become a battlefield of its own. And here's the core tension. Is regulation protecting democracy or restricting it? That's the question fueling one of the biggest cultural clashes in modern American politics.
I want to say something that's really important. What's happened under this administration, the Biden-Harris administration, and this affects all of you. They've secretly, not so secretly, put in the selective service back in, and I do not want any of you fighting on foreign soil, any of you fighting on any wars.
Finally, Schneider escalated things even further with claims about foreign entanglements and behind-the-scenes decisions most Americans never hear about. He suggests voters should question transparency and demand accountability, no matter which party is in charge. Whether you see it as bold truth-telling or over-the-top rhetoric, one thing's certain. Conversations like this ignite passion on both sides. And in a divided America, those debates aren't going away anytime soon. And that wraps up today's breakdown. If you found this deep dive valuable, stay tuned. Because in this political climate, the next headline is always just around the corner.